Welcome to another video, and in this video we're going to have a bit of a treat. How to speak New Zealand English, and we're going to learn how to speak New Zealand English from the very best source there is out there, WikiHow, which is the site where you can learn to do anything. So what better place than to learn how to speak like a Kiwi? Alright, so this article on WikiHow was co-authored by Andrea Thompson, a New Zealand resident nonetheless. Updated July 13th, 2024. Wow, it's only 2 days ago. Given 3 and nearly 4 stars. Considered mostly helpful. All right, well, let's see how helpful that is. English as spoken in New Zealand, NZ, Aotearoa does not vary greatly from the English spoken in the UK, the USA, Canada, blah, 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 blah. Although the largest influence on New Zealand English is the Australian accent and dialect. Yeah, historically, I think. You'll be understood by Kiwis if you speak the version of the English language that is native to you, or the etc. etc. Yeah, okay, let's just get straight onto the lessons. I want to learn how to speak New Zealand English, and so do you probably. So let's get into it. Oh, here we go. Easy tips for doing a New Zealand accent. Okay, draw out the vowel E into a E sound. So 10 minutes should sound like 10 minutes. I will see you in 10 minutes. I don't know anybody who talks like that, let alone any New Zealander. Sounds a little bit like an old-fashioned James Bond villain. In 10 minutes, Mr. Bond, you are going to die. Pronounce the short A sound like a long O. So awesome should sound like awesome. Well, I mean, I'm saying this in basically a Kiwi accent. Okay, so they're spelling it out like or, as in what you row a boat with. Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty correct, I reckon. Pronounce the other A sounds. Could they be a little more specific? Which A sounds? Like a long E. So hands should sound like hens. Hands should sound like hens. I'm not sure I'm representative of all New Zealand accents, but to me there's a difference there. Hands versus hens. Make sure you shake his hand. I don't know about that. Yeah, something sounds a bit off. Okay, part 1. Here we go, into the lessons. Learning New Zealand English pronunciation. Data. Okay, so apparently Americans say data. British people say data. Okay, yeah, like Captain Picard, Mr. Data. And New Zealanders say data. Data. Yeah, that's true. I got a new data plan for my phone. Yeah, I say that, yeah. The New Zealand dialects have similar but not identical pronunciations to American and British words. Learning common differences in pronunciation will help you communicate easily and avoid easy misunderstandings. This is going to be important. All right, New Zealand English speakers will pronounce the word data like it is often pronounced in American English. Data. Yeah, okay, we just went through that. Debut. Okay, notice I said debut is pronounced debut. Debut in American English. Almost unrecognizable from the usual UK and American pronunciation. Yeah, I'd say debut. Debut. Oh, I don't know now. One of those two. Okay, lesson 2. Listen to natives' vowel pronunciation. Listen to a native's vowel pronunciation. They may have fact-checked this article, but they didn't grammar check it very well. A significant part of the pronunciation difference between American and British English and New Zealand English lies in the vowel. The vowel. We only have one. To imitate the New Zealand accent, move the base of your tongue farther back in your mouth, and when you are saying say ah. Move the base of your tongue farther back in your mouth. I'm not sure what they're talking about there. Yeah, you give that a go and please tell me what sound you produced. Let's get on to... okay, here we go. Classic Kiwi English coming up right here. Fush and chops. Flatten your vowels. This is one of the most notable pronunciation oddities of New Zealand English. Vowels are altered so they nearly all sound the same. Do they? Well, I think we probably eliminate vowels more than anything. I don't know about flatten them out. Just vowels are completely gone from some words. For example, although there is a marked difference between the vowel sounds in the word near and square, the vowel sounds are the same in New Zealand English. Near, square. I don't know. feels and sounds different to me. What do you reckon? Okay, what do we have next? Okay, this looks like rising intonation. Not exclusive to New Zealand English. Pretty famous in that Valley Girl accent from California. This would sound something like, it was very hot. Yeah, Kiwis do that quite a lot, especially Kiwi girls. Raise your verbal intonation at the end of a sentence. New Zealand English speakers typically inflect their voices upwards at the end of declarative sentences. Okay, to American and British English speakers, it can sound like Kiwis are asking questions. Again, though, it's not exclusive to New Zealand English. Using New Zealand, oh my God, what is this? That is the scene from a nightmare. What's happening with her face? Look at her face. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight after seeing that. Learn some specific New Zealand words. Good advice. Once you have adjusted your English pronunciation to match the New Zealand inflections, you'll need to expand or adjust your vocabulary by learning some new slang. In some cases, New Zealand English speakers repurpose common English words. You'll need to learn those as well. To start with, remember, av. No one from New Zealand says avenue. They'll all say av. I'm just trying to think where the nearest av is. Oh, what's that one on the Monopoly board? Park Ave? Yeah, okay, all right. I'll give them that. Dairy, as well as its association with milk production, yeah, we call it like what you might call in some countries, like in the US, a convenience store, for example, or what do they call them in the UK, like a corner shop, something like that. News agents, I think they call them news agents. We call them dairy. It's just a small little shop where you can buy, get a loaf of bread, some milk, some snacks, that type of thing. Got to say, though, that dairies are kind of disappearing from New Zealand these days. Slowly, that is. The few dairies that are around are getting ram-raided by punk kids. Batch, holiday home. Yeah, notice the spelling. It's not bark. Yeah, batch is a holiday home. Or in the South, they refer to it as a crib, I do believe. A chili bin, also known as a cooler. What do they call it in Australia? I think it's an esky. Is that right? An esky? Jandals. Okay, there's classic New Zealand vocab. Flip-flops or thong footwear. Yeah, I know they call them thongs in Australia. Manchester. Yeah, we do call bed linen Manchester. I wonder why that is. Is it something to do with Manchester? Did they make them in Manchester or something? Lollies, sweets or candies. Yeah, that's true. Shonky, mild profanity, not as bad as munted. Shonky. I've heard that word before. I wouldn't say it's mild profanity, and I wouldn't say it's that common either. I guess shonky means like broken or a bit dodgy. What's a good example? Like, my dad built a new fence around the garden. It's a bit shonky, like it wouldn't be very straight, or it's a bit wobbly or something. Yeah, I just don't think that's very common. Munted, now there's a good word. I haven't heard it that much recently, but I remember when I was a bit younger, you used to hear munted quite a lot. It was quite popular for a while. It means, yeah, not good, less vulgar than rooted. Well, that's true. Munted. You can also use munted to describe a person. Well, you'd call a person munty, like, oh, yeah, he looks a bit munty, like he's a bit weird looking. But it's munted, it's broken. Oh, geez, my car's munted. Rooted. Now, this is a pretty rough word. Bit of a bogan word. Bogan, there's another term that you might not have heard of before. Bogans are, I don't know, for want of a better word, white trash. Rooted, a vulgar term used in place of the F word. For example, that's rooted. You got to say it like a Kiwi. That's rooted. Means the item in question is no longer in working order. Yeah, it's rooted, mate. Stoked, very pleased. I mean, again, is that what the kids are saying these days? I mean, I'm hardly the person to speak here, but even when I was a teenager, stoked was a bit cliche. I was stoked. Oh, I got a box of Cody's for my birthday. I was stoked. Stoked, mate. It's a little bit of a bogan word, I reckon. Haven't heard that in quite a while. Quite nice. Was that supposed to be a New Zealand phrase? Quite nice. Don't be fooled by false cognates. These are words and phrases in New Zealand English that sound similar to phrases in British or American English, but actually have contradictory meanings. Quite nice is a contradictory meaning? Quite nice. Something that is unpleasant. Oh, your hair looks quite nice. Well, I think if someone's using quite nice and they actually mean something unpleasant, they're a bit of a biatch, if you ask me. To have a mare, to make a fool of yourself. Is that short for nightmare? I haven't heard anybody say this around me. Nah, I'm not buying it. I haven't heard that myself. Sounds a bit Australian, if you ask me. Sweet as. Oh, yeah, this is a good New Zealand phrase, actually. Agreed or good. This phrase is occasionally confused by non-Kiwis as being a compliment to the bottom. As does not mean ass or arse when used in casual conversation. Yeah, sweet as, you can use that quite a lot. Yeah, nah. Oh, this is a really good one. No, thank you. Kiwis say yeah, nah when they want to say no without giving offense. That's true. A really good example of if this, again, who checked this? A really good example of this is when a Kiwi is offered another alcoholic beverage. Have another beer, bro. It's not late. Answer, yeah, nah. Meaning I'd like another drink and have considered accepting, but I really shouldn't. Yeah, it sums it all up, really, how indecisive and indirect New Zealanders actually are. It's incredibly confusing for foreigners visiting New Zealand. What is it? What do you want? Yes or no? Do you want another beer or not? Just say yes or just say no. The rellies, short for relatives. No, I've heard Aussies say this. I haven't heard many Kiwis say this. If anything, Kiwis might say cuzzies, as it's short for cousins, like your extended family. Not rellies. Yeah, it's an Aussie thing. Prepare for abbreviated versions of common words. New Zealand English speakers are notorious for abbreviating words. Listen for this, and don't be surprised if you hear familiar words chopped in half, often with the suffix "ease" added. For example, you may hear someone say they'll visit their rellies. I've been through this. I don't think people say rellies at all. After they eat brekkie. Yeah, brekkie, bicky, short for biscuit. Aussie, short for Australia. There's a whole heap more. I mean, yeah, people use these fairly often. You don't use them all the time, though. Develop a rudimentary understanding of Māori. There's a few Māori words here and there in everyday Kiwi English. But I don't know what's happening to our mate here, though. He looks like he might be having a bit of a heart attack, really. Yeah, call him an ambulance. All right, well, there you go. That was a lesson in how to speak New Zealand or speak like a Kiwi. What do you think? Did WikiHow do a great job? Did Andrea Thompson do a good job? You know what? Let's give Andrea Thompson a rating. Let's go way back up to the top of this article and click a start a vote. You know what? I will give it 3, possibly helpful. I think she's just a bit off some things. I think she's mixing up some Australianisms with New Zealand isms. Anyway, what do you reckon? Did you learn how to speak New Zealand English from this video? If you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. Or maybe you want some more lessons in how to speak like a Kiwi. If you do, tell me in the comments section. See you in the next one.